The Galactic Academy's xenobiology lab buzzed with the usual mixture of tension and excitement that accompanied mixed-species education. Jackson Chen adjusted his datapad as he watched the latest batch of interspecies cadets struggle through their first practical examination. As one of only 3 human instructors at the prestigious institution, he'd grown accustomed to being the odd one out among his colleagues. "Instructor Chen," called Lily Rodriguez from across the lab, her voice carrying that particular tone that meant trouble was brewing. "I think you need to see this." Jackson made his way through the maze of laboratory stations, past the crystalline Zephyrians who communicated through color changes, around the towering Krulin whose multiple arms made them natural surgeons, and toward the corner where Lily was supervising the Vorthak section. The Vorthak were a proud species, apex predators from a death world that made Earth look like a peaceful garden. Standing 8 feet tall with razor-sharp claws and fangs that could tear through starship hull plating, they were the Confederation's most feared warriors. They were also, Jackson had learned over his 3 years at the Academy, surprisingly intelligent and capable of sophisticated thought, when they weren't letting their predatory instincts override their judgment. Today, however, those instincts seemed to be winning. Young Grexitar, barely past his species' equivalent of adolescence, towered over Instructor Velnari, a seasoned Altarian scholar who had been teaching xenobiology longer than Jackson had been alive. The Vorthak cub's mane bristled with aggression, his massive chest heaving with each breath. His assignment, a careful dissection of a synthetic organism designed to test surgical precision, lay in ruins on his workstation. "You dare question my competence, Softshell?" Grexter's voice was a rumbling growl that resonated through his chest cavity. The universal translator struggled to convey the layers of insult and challenge embedded in the Vorthak's native tongue. "My claws have tasted the blood of creatures that would make your ancestors weep with terror." Instructor Velnari's tentacles rippled in what Jackson recognized as barely controlled fear. The Altarian was a brilliant scientist, but his species had evolved as peaceful filter feeders. Confronting an angry Vorthak went against every survival instinct encoded in his DNA. "Young Grextar," Velnari's voice translator made his words sound steadier than the trembling of his body suggested. "I merely suggested that you might benefit from a more methodical approach to the dissection. The synthetic organism requires silence." The roar that erupted from Grextar's throat was deafening. Several nearby students froze in terror. The Krulin instructor at the neighboring station began herding his students toward the exit. "You know nothing of precision, nothing of the hunt, nothing of—" "Grextar." Jackson's voice cut through the Vorthak's tirade like a blade through silk. He hadn't shouted, hadn't raised his voice above conversational level, but something in his tone made every being in the lab turn toward him. The human walked steadily toward the towering alien, his expression calm but his eyes holding something that made even the battle-hardened Vorthak pause. "Apologize to Instructor Velnari." The words hung in the air like a challenge thrown down before an army. The room went completely silent. Not just quiet, silent with the kind of absolute stillness that precedes either violence or revelation. Even the Academy's environmental systems seemed to hold their breath. Grextar's eyes narrowed to golden slits. At his full height, he could have picked Jackson up with one hand and torn him in half without effort. His species had conquered 12 star systems through sheer ferocity and had never been known to back down from any challenge. "You would dare a soft, weak human command a son of Vorthak Prime?" Jackson stopped 3 feet from the alien, well within the reach of those deadly claws. Lily tensed behind him, her hand moving instinctively toward the emergency alarm. But Jackson gave an almost imperceptible shake of his head. "I'm not commanding anything," Jackson said quietly. "I'm telling you what's going to happen next. You're going to apologize to Instructor Velnari for your disrespectful behavior. Then you're going to return to your station and complete your assignment with the precision and methodology he suggested. And you're going to do it because that's what students do when they want to remain students." The Vorthak's lips pulled back in a snarl that revealed teeth designed for tearing apart armored prey. "And if I refuse, little human?" Jackson's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. A subtle adjustment that every predator in the room recognized at an instinctual level. Lily had seen it before during their time together at the Terran Military Academy, back when they were both training for the Centauri border conflict. It was the stillness of a coiled spring, the calm before a storm that had reduced enemy positions to smoking craters. Then you'll learn why humans are the only species in Confederation history to win a war against the Vorthak hegemony. The silence stretched taut as a vibrating wire. Grextar's claws flexed, his muscles bunched. For a moment, Lily thought the young alien might actually attack. Then slowly the Vorthak straightened, his mane settled, his claws retracted. He turned to Instructor Velnari, and in the formal posture of his people lowered his massive head. Instructor Velnari, I have shown disrespect to your knowledge and experience. This was unworthy of a student of the Galactic Academy. I request your guidance in completing my assignment properly. The Altarian's tentacles rippled in surprise and relief. Apology accepted, young Grextar. Let us begin again with the preliminary incisions. As the lab slowly returned to normal activity, Lily approached Jackson. How did you do that? She whispered. I've seen Vorthak warriors tear through battle armor like tissue paper. What made him back down? Jackson watched as Grexitar carefully followed Velnari's instructions. His powerful claws now moving with surgical precision under the alien instructor's patient guidance. Respect, he said simply. The Vorthak understand strength, but they understand earned respect even more. Grexter didn't back down because he was afraid. He backed down because he recognized that I was prepared to match his strength with my own, whatever the cost. Humans might not have claws or fangs, but we have something that most species find even more dangerous. Which is, Jackson smiled grimly, the absolute certainty that if we're going down, we're taking you with us. And the wisdom to know that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is choose not to fight at all. Across the lab, Grexter successfully completed his dissection under Velnari's pleased supervision, earning his first perfect score of the semester. And in that moment, both instructor and student learned something valuable about the strange, soft species that had somehow become the Confederation's most trusted peacekeepers. Sometimes the cub roars because it needs to learn when not to.